I'm going to share a story with you today, which might sound like it's taken from Bollywood, but it's a real story. A schoolgirl, who I shall call Mina, received a phone call from a stranger. This man introduced himself as Raj and asked her out on a date. The day they met, Raj came wearing fancy clothes and showered Mina with gifts. Engaging her in a casual conversation, he mentioned about his sister who ran a successful business in Delhi. Then, over a cold drink, Raj proposed marriage. An hour later, an elderly couple joined them. Raj introduced them as his parents, and the couple presented Mina with a sari, saying they wanted her to be a part of their family. Mina was completely overwhelmed. On that very day, instead of going back home from school, Mina left for Kolkata with Raj. The next day, she was bound on a train for Delhi. And a week later, she was sold to a brothel. As a photojournalist, my job is to share stories and provide visual evidence. I was horrified to hear Mina's story because I had assumed she was trapped by someone who had taken time to lay the hook on her, an assumption many of us make about human trafficking. But I was wrong. This is Mina, and this is the exact place where she met Raj for the first time. When I asked her why she walked away with a stranger, she said, "I never felt such affection in my entire life. He was so charming. It is only later I learned that the older couple were paid by him to pose as his parents." Trafficking is a silent issue. It happens right in front of us. We just don't see it. It is the fastest growing form of organized crime in the world today. In South Asia alone, over 150,000 people are trafficked annually. To understand this complex crime, I started traveling to trafficking hotspots in India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. India is the source, transit, as well as the destination country, while Nepal and Bangladesh are source countries. Girls are brought to India through the open and porous border. I wanted to understand more about this issue, so I started researching further, and I came across images like this. And news reports like these. There were no stories, no real connection, no impact. So I decided to fill in this gap and share stories about survivors, missing girls, and their families. I wanted to understand why it was so easy to trap a girl like Mina. A peek into the lives of the girls was an eye-opener for me. Girls have to wake up early and travel long distance to fetch water, while the boys of the house slept. Then they're expected to cook, clean, fetch water, and take care of the younger siblings, and then allowed to go to schools. Their childhood is taken away from them. Children are often devoid of affection and care sometimes. Because of poverty, parents are forced to leave their children behind in the care of relatives while seeking jobs outside in larger cities. All these factors make girls vulnerable. So a glimmer of a better future with a partner who would take care of them is enough lured them into the dark alleys of sexual exploitation and modern-day slavery. Mina's story is not unique. It is the most common method used by traffickers. We often assume trafficking involves macho men and gangs. While some of this is true, you'll be surprised to know how many men and women are involved in this crime. I took this photograph at the Khuti police station of alleged traffickers. These are fathers, mothers, uncles, aunts, and most importantly, they look ordinary, just like you and me. This is Faraq Ali, a trafficker I met after his arrest at the Mathurapur police station in 2017. Faraq's job was to romantically trap girls and take them to Delhi. For every girl he took, he was paid rupees 20,000. During police interrogation, he confessed to trafficking 11 girls over a period of 18 months along with his 2 accomplices. So, how did he find the girls? What was his modus operandi? Faraq approached shops that sold mobile SIM cards. He would pay the owner to photocopy the register that had names and addresses. From those lists, he would start making random calls. Traffickers are smart people. They keep a close watch and strike at every available opportunity. Can you imagine being trapped and never having the chance to go back home? I learned another dark truth about this world, and that is, girls from the tribal and the indigenous communities are not in demand in sex trade. Can you tell me the reason why? Because they are dark-skinned and frail. Firms, under the guise of placement agencies, traffic girls from states such as Orissa, Assam, Jharkhand, and put them for domestic work and pocket the entire money themselves. Families engaging these girls are unaware of the real situation. Some of the girls I met were not paid for years. Many girls are trapped in this cycle, but there are some who are lucky enough to be rescued. I spent a considerable amount of time at shelter homes speaking to rescued girls. Having shared similar traumatic experiences, these girls share a strong bond with each other. Sisters Z and B were trafficked by their aunt in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and smuggled across to India and sold at a brothel in West Bengal. At 15, B got pregnant and was forced to have an abortion in the brothel. A doctor was called in, paid heavily by the owner, and asked to perform the surgery in the brothel instead of taking her to the hospital. B was stubborn. She often refused to have sex. When she wouldn't, the owner would ask her sister to strip her naked and whip her with a belt. This was the most painful, more painful than having sex with 20 clients a day, her sister Z told me. Can you imagine being trapped and never having the chance to go back home? This is Shathi, a victim of child marriage, who was later abandoned by her husband. Shathi moved back to her parents' house and met a man and fell in love. This man tricked and sold her at the Kalighat red light district. Her parents, who came looking for her, found her at the brothel and asked her to move back home. Shati refused to go back because of stigma and instead sent her son away with them. She went into severe depression and poured kerosene to immolate herself. She received 50% burns and spent a month at the hospital. Shati continues with sex work and sends money back home for her son's education. What you're looking at now are the faces of those who didn't have a chance to go back. Most of these women were minors when they were trafficked. I took this photograph at a non-profit located at the Kalighat red light district of Kolkata. In the absence of families, these women help and support each other. I'm sometimes asked this question: what's the point of working on these issues? Is trafficking ever going to stop? Is change possible? I don't have the perfect answer. But I believe these stories and images are a historical record and will continue to live even after me. Most survivors I met told me one common thing: please don't treat us with pity. Just treat us as normal human beings. That's when I realized sympathy creates distance, while empathy builds connection. I'm bearing witness, and I want you to share that with me in the hope that you will understand their pain. Instead of pity, you will show empathy. Instead of silence, you will speak up and not walk away. Thank you.